facing one direction. It was like if we're all sitting in the booth on the same side. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
I hate couples who do that.
Me?
You do that? No.
We've had this conversation so many times because every time I go to a restaurant, I'm just like, she's like, I like it. I'm like, stop.
I just feel like my neck hurts.
Yeah. Like I want to look
Like,
at you.
like,
yeah. Hey.
This the whole time? I don't like that.
And then when you're eating, you're just like,
yeah, and you're just like staring.
I can't.
I don't know.
Oh, I like being close.
I like being close too.
But I don't have a person, so it's fine.
oh,
Anyway,
goodness.
Kayrecch in
Hi.
the building.
Yay!
Hey.
Hey.
Did I say it right?
Yeah, Kayrecch. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Good. We're so excited to have you. We've been like you have been like one person that we're like, we need to have her on the podcast.
Oh,
I feel like we say that to everybody, but honestly, it's true to everybody.
It's true.
It's so true.
I know. It's been a while.
Yeah, I asked you about this a while ago. But
I know.
you moved, so.
I know.
How's
but
that been?
It's good.
I bet.
It's so fun and cute. It's just like, I don't know.
It's a
living
new
with your
chapter.
best friend.
Yeah, it's a new I
It's
love
super
that.
good.
No, it's perfect.
Thanks.
Yay.
I do miss SD. I miss all of y'all.
Yeah.
But it has been fun.
You're not that far.
No.
And
It's
you're
an hour and a
here.
half.
Yeah.
I'm here all the time.
Yeah.
Honestly. More so, I think I see you guys more that I moved than when I was here because I was doing like back and forth forever.
Yeah. It's
What'd
like
you
more
think?
intentional time, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, tell us about yourself. How would you
God.
intro Kathryn?
My intro. How would I intro me? Hello, hi. Kathryn, also go by Kitty, also go by Kayrecch. Born and raised in New York, moved to California. It'll be 5 years in October.
Crazy.
Which is really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else? I'm a ceramicist.
Yes.
So that's like a new hobby that I do. Yeah, do ceramics. That's always fun. I tell people that I do yoga, but I have not done it in about 2 years.
Would you actually
Yeah,
say
I do.
that?
I'm like, yeah, big yogi.
I do yoga and ceramics.
Yeah, but I don't actually do yoga. I like long walks.
Long walks.
That's the
okay.
thing.
Hot girl walk.
Hot girl walk. Yeah, hot girl summer. We love that too.
Mm-hmm.
And
You're the middle child?
yeah, I'm the middle. I have an older sister, younger brother. I think that's why I left. I'm like, the middle. Are you a middle child?
We're both the oldest.
Oh, you can't relate. So middle children are known for being very independent because
They're left out.
yes, because they're not the oldest and they're not the youngest.
Yep.
And so that is me. I am pretty independent and I wanted to move and I just decided to pick up and go. I was the first one in the family to do that. And here we are, and I'm not going back.
Yeah, you don't think?
No, I don't think so. I think my parents always thought I would go back eventually, and honestly, I think I did too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met my partner who I want to be with, so no, I'm not going back.
And he's from New York, or?
No, he's from LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, born and raised LA, but his family is from New York. So they have like roots
so you
in
guys
Brooklyn
both have
and Coney Island.
excuses
Yeah,
to go back.
yes,
That's perfect.
It's so good, and he's come out twice. So we'll kind of do the thing back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like, I don't know, once you kind of experience the West Coast and get this sort of living and you really just kind of like vibe with it, you don't want to leave.
No.
Yeah.
It's for some people and not for others. And so I definitely like the people that stay, you're like, you get it. You know.
Yeah, and I feel like New York has such a hold on people. Like New Yorkers are New Yorkers, born and raised, like die for the state. And same, but also I kind of left.
Yeah.
So
Here we are.
here we are.
And we met at work.
We met. Yes, we met at work. You started a week or two before me, right?
I think so.
I think
yeah.
so. And then, yeah, you were my first friend there
Same.
because it was so small too.
It was so small. And to other people, I was like, I can't relate.
Yeah. And we were like really the only girls, the only women. It was mostly men.
Mm-hmm. Women in tech.
Women in tech. Few and far between.
And yeah, you, Kathryn was the first person I ever got drunk with.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I still can't believe you did this to me because I just would have approached the situation so differently because me and me and my friends are, we drink, we rip shots, it's a thing. And so I just assumed that you did that too. So when we were ripping shots and I'm just like, you want another, you want another, you want another? And Erica just said yes. So
God,
I didn't think twice about it.
Picture this in my brain. I can see it, how it happened.
I just would have loved to be like, have one and see how you feel. And then we can do another. You know what I mean? I would have been a little more mothering, I think.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
But you know what?
It's
now
okay.
we have the story.
Learned. Yeah, I got home and I was like, oh, I'm going to throw up. And now I know.
I remember what you were wearing.
What?
Yeah. Is that weird? Am I in love with you? I remember you were wearing this like super tight red dress. You looked great.
Oh, thanks.
Do you remember that?
I do now that you said, yeah.
Is that weird?
No.
Okay, good.
I just remember, your friends from New York were in town and we went out and it was my first time out in North Park.
Yeah, the office. That's where we went.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fun place. Have you been there?
Mm-mm. I don't
That's
think I've
fun.
been out
In North Park?
Yeah. I almost said New York. I'm catching up. I'll get there, guys. Keep going. Well, should we dive into what we're talking about today?
Yeah.
We recently did an episode with my sister, who is also a middle child, which I love. It's so funny. But we did one about self-love. And so now we want to do one a little bit about confidence and self-confidence. And you definitely elude confidence, which is like amazing. But I want to start off with like what we think the difference between like self-love and confidence is, how it like looks like to you and what you think makes them different. Are they the same? Kind of just like kind of piggybacking off of that episode that we did pretty recently.
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like they're very similar and I think they coexist. So I feel like in order to be confident, you should have self-love. But I don't know if that's always the case, because there was one thing I was going to bring up is like, I think there's different versions of confidence. And I think that some versions of confidence are rooted in like insecurity. And I think that's when you get cocky or when you get conceited or when you think you're better than everyone else. Like that's not truly confident. That's like being a dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think those people like don't actually have self-love, because it's, I need to feel good, so I'm putting you down so that I feel good. And to me, confidence, the way that I want to be confident is regardless of everyone else. I want to feel confident in who I am and love myself, so that when I show up in a room, I can try to get others to feel confident too.
Yeah.
In themselves.
Yeah.
Without taking away from others.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
I definitely much agree. I think you can't really have that confidence without that self-love, but they definitely do coexist, because I think if you I feel like sometimes your self-love is lacking because you aren't just like, faking it till you make it, which is sometimes like what confidence is, right?
110%.
And so like if you're not, you kind of have to like match that level. But I think that's such a good point of like, if you don't have that self-love, but you have like, you are so confident, you are a dick.
Yes.
Like it's not, you clearly don't love yourself.
Don't. I know. And I also feel like confidence, it's a habit. It's something you practice. Like even I don't feel confident 100% of the time. It's something that you really have to work at and try, just like self-love. And I learned that just like you can have like negative self-talk and you believe it, you can also have positive self-talk. And eventually you do start to believe that too. So if you just change the way you phrase things, even if you think you're lying to yourself, as long as it's a positive lie, like, are you hurting yourself? No, you feel more confident, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a good point. I think self-love is like the beginning to the in my opinion, the right kind of confidence. Yeah.
What has been your like journey to get to this point?
It's been a long one. So, great question. So, when I was in high school, I had a really toxic, unhealthy relationship with a boy. It was truly terrible. And he really made me feel awful. Like I was ugly, I wasn't worth it, the whole nine, that I'm sure so many people have that story. And there was a point where I feel like I was always a little bit more confident than others, like from a young age. But in that specifically, there was always that voice in the back of my mind was like, bitch, you know he's wrong, right? Like she was like screaming at me like, are you kidding? Like, you know that this isn't true.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, you know, she gets quieter and quieter and you kind of forget about her. And when I was at the lowest point of that relationship, I really, in my mind, was like, okay, something has to change, because I know that this is not what love should feel like. This is not healthy. This is not who I am. It's not how I feel about myself. So why am I letting this person dictate that for me? And it really took me it took me getting out of my like hometown bubble. And I know that you guys feel, you know, the hometown bubble very well. It took me getting out of my hometown bubble to realize that, you know, the mean girls in high school and the cool guys in high school were like not shit. Yeah. And all the things that I had been told my whole life by them and by this person was just not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where it started. And from there, so I went away to school and I popped out of that bubble, and I just started feeling freer, that I could make a name for myself. I met all these new people, and you kind of decide who you want to be in college. And wait, so funny. So I kind of am embarrassed to say this, but how I got my self-confidence was from selfies.
I feel like
I feel so embarrassed by that.
No, I don't think you should be embarrassed at all, because I feel like I think my sister, we were talking about self-love, would say the same thing. And I've actually known a lot of people who would say that. So I don't think you should be embarrassed at all, because also I feel like when you say that, I'm kind of like, honestly, when I take a good selfie, I'm like, oh my God, what?
Like, right?
Yeah. So I don't think you should be embarrassed at all, because I'm kind of like, oh, I see it. I get it.
So when it was like my freshman year, I think it's when Instagram first came out. And so it was only your friends, because Instagram was so brand new. There was no influencers. There was no about page. It was literally just your friends. And so when you posted pictures, all your friends liked it. And it felt good still at that early Instagram age. Yeah. Not now. But then it felt good. And I remember, I can still see the picture. I know which one it is. I was in this like little red shirt, and I took the selfie and I looked at it and I was like, wait, am I hot? I was like, did this happen overnight? I think I'm hot. And it kind of just went from there, honestly. I know.
Do you still have that picture on
I
Instagram?
do. Oh, yes. No, not on Instagram. I think I took it off, but I do have it somewhere. I can send it to you.
Yes.
Yeah. With like the super thin eyebrows. Looking back on it, I'm like, girl, what? But I really felt it at the time. Yeah. Yes. So it kind of stemmed from that. And I think my journey too also went through the wrong kinds of confidence. Like it would be lying to say that I just like jumped from, you know, oh yeah, you should just be confident and not take from other people, because I unfortunately did. I think that the journey that I had was, I did start from a place of insecurity. So it was like taking from others in order to make my light brighter, which is not right. There's one story that I was just so mean to this one boy. We were at a keg party, and I don't think I've ever told this story ever. He was like handing out beers by the keg, and I asked for one, and he was like very nice, but clearly trying to hit on me. And I looked at him and I was like, do you see me? Like, this isn't going to work. Like, I'm hotter than you. This is it. And he looked so sad. Aww. Like, he just had such a sad face. And that moment was like, Kathryn, that's not nice. Yeah. Like, that's not being confident. That's being a dick. Yeah. And so I think that was one moment that really stuck out to me of like, okay, clearly I still have things that I have to work on in order to feel confident. I still feel bad for that guy. I don't know if he remembers me.
But I still think like that was an opportunity for you to learn too. You know, I feel like we 100%. All have those moments in life, rather like whatever stage of life you're in, where you're like, wow, that was such a dick move. I know.
And there's small things. There's small things like that you think about like randomly at night, and you're like, oh my God. Yeah. Oh yeah. Why was I like that?
Yeah, that was literally 10 years ago. Ew. But it was 10 years ago.
Would you say the move to California like helped in your confidence, or?
Yes, I would say so. Again, because I think I was really, I wouldn't say I was like crazily unhappy in New York, but I definitely wasn't happy all the time. And so I think moving to California was really like me searching for something for myself. And when I left, so many people came to me and were like, oh, I could never do that. I can't believe you did that. This is just like something that no one does. And I know we've all done it, but it's just, I do think it takes a certain kind of person. And coming out here essentially by myself, I had one friend who moved out here before me, but coming out here really does make you more confident, because it's like, wow, I can do all this shit by myself and I don't need anyone necessarily. Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I think it's a little more like, it's a little different for me though, because I've moved around my entire life, but I've had my family the whole time. Like, it wasn't like me moving around my entire life. It was like us moving around my entire life. And so college was definitely a point where I was like, I'm free. And then all of a sudden, like, after everything in college happened and I had left, that's when I was like, oh my gosh, wait, this is like crazy. Because even though you are not away from your family, like, all of these, like, an influx of people enter your life, like a whole bunch of friends. If you're part of like a team or a club, you have all of them and you just like immerse yourself. And so I think for me, it was a little different, because as soon as college ended, that's when I was like, wait, am I by myself? Like, that. And so I think every step that I took after that was like, oh, okay, I can do this by myself. And it's not even like I want to give credit where credit's due, and I definitely wasn't by myself, and I do have a good support system, but it's like, at the same time, there are times like where people aren't with you, where you're like alone in your room and you're just doing things by yourself, and it's those small like things that you realize, like, or take steps into building your confidence, for sure.
100%. And I don't even think it has to be something crazy big as moving.
Yeah.
Like, going to the bar by yourself and getting nachos and drinking a beer at the bar by yourself, I feel so confident doing that. Just like knowing I don't need anyone around to, I don't know, entertain me maybe is the word. Or like, I'm not insecure eating by myself. Like, I think that's just a confident thing to do also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Or just like life steps too. I feel like sometimes, like, it sounds silly, but like being able to like go to the doctors by yourself, or like figure out, because I mean, especially, I don't know, Erica, if you felt this way, but like military doctors, I mean, like, it was hard living in a military family, but like having everything like taken care of was so easy. And so like my parents never, like, we never worried about that. And so that was like a thing that I had to navigate, and I still do have to like navigate all of that stuff now. But those small steps too, are like going to get your oil changed for the first time, just like searching by yourself, you know, like, yeah, sure, you still may like call one of your family members and be like, help, but like, you are the one that has to get in the car and do it. And it seems like such a small step, but you're like, yes.
Yeah. I know, it's the small things.
I think for me, like, ever since I was like young, I was like, I can do it myself. Like, I was always just like, I don't want your help, I'll do it. But I feel like my confidence has come in being able to ask for help or like reach out. I feel like it's almost been the opposite, because like, even when I was in high school, I didn't have older siblings. I figured it all out. And like, my parents, I'm sure they would have helped me, but I never asked them. Yeah. And I like didn't talk, like, I was just like, I can do it. I know how to do it. And then the more you do things on your own, and it's like, this would have been easier if I like asked someone, or like if I would have been like, hey, can you come with me? Like, that would have been more enjoyable, because it's like, the amount of times I've eaten by myself, I can't even tell you. It's countless. Yeah. But there are times when I'm like, why didn't I like reach out to a friend and like invite them? Like, I feel like more your social circle grows, and you feel more confident that way. It's almost like the reverse, because I feel like I went to such an extreme of being like, I don't need anyone, I can do it myself, that it was just like, it was just a blob. I didn't really have, I felt like it wasn't fun. I was just like this very like determined person, but no like fun personality, if that makes sense.
I mean, I think you're fun.
Yeah, I definitely think you're fun, but I see where you're coming from.
I do.
Yeah, I can see that. This question is gonna be so dumb, because the answers could be anything. No, but like, how do you be confident? Like, I know that you were talking about selfies and things like that, but I want to get into like more like deeper things. Like, yeah, you can do these like steps, like go to the doctor and all these things, but like, how do you be confident?
Honestly, I think you just have to try it. Like, it's like a fake it till you make it. Even if you don't feel confident, maybe just pick like an hour where you're like, okay, I'm going to be a confident girly for this next hour. What would a confident girly do? And then just kind of try it and see what happens. And I think that people would be so surprised that confidence really does make you feel better. because you just feel a little more sure of yourself. I like to think that it makes you happier because you're just not left like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? You just kind of make a decision and you're confident in it. This is what it is and this is what it's going to be.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's hard too when, like, for me, what like takes away my confidence are a lot of like external things, and there's a lot like bigger triggers than others, and it's different for everybody. But I think I care so much about what people think that I'm automatically like what they might think about me, like the worst of what like they may think about me stops me from doing that.
Yeah.
So I think like it is the hardest step, but it's a good step of just try it. Like you said, an hour
Absolutely.
of your time to fake it. And they may say like all of these were in my mind, maybe you didn't say this, but like for me, I'm thinking like, okay, even if they say, or they think, or whoever they is are saying the worst things, it's only for an hour.
It's only for an hour. And you can do it with trusted friends, and you could say, hey, Erica, I'm going to be confident for the next hour. Let's see what happens. And you just try it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's such a good step.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a really good point about other people, because I really think confidence needs to be rooted within yourself. Because the moment someone turns around and is like, oh, you're not good at that thing, or you don't look good in that thing, your confidence is shattered. So it really has to be an internal thing where it doesn't matter what other people think. And I think most people admire confidence. And so when you do show up feeling confident, they're kind of like, wow, she feels good, and that looks good on her.
Definitely.
And I don't think they'll then turn around and be like, oh, you're not good at that thing, because you feel confident. Why would I want to take away someone's confidence in anything that they feel confident in?
Well, and in situations like that, like if that does happen, if someone like starts to like say something negative, it's like they look so ugly.
Yes.
Like
Absolutely.
they look like a bad person, like not someone you want to be around, and you're almost more gravitated towards the confident person because there's this negative person that's just like picking on them, and you're like, why?
And again, rooted in insecurity.
Yeah.
They're doing that because they feel insecure about themselves, and they need to take away your light. And you just can't let them.
Yeah. Well, I think a big piece of confidence is body.
Yeah.
Like being confident in your body. And you're also a great example of that. Kathryn has a nude portrait of herself.
I do. Shout out to Emma Reeves. Yes.
So how, like, I think that it all goes hand in hand, but like the body side. Is there a specific like instance or story in your journey that you feel like has allowed you to be confident there?
That's a good question. Honestly, I feel like it has always been my hair. I don't know if this is the question that you were asking, but this is how I feel about the question that you were asking. It's always been my hair. I feel very confident in my hair, and I think if you find just one thing about yourself that you like, it can, as long as you let it, seep into everything else. And I think that, again, it's a journey. It's not like I woke up one day and was like, I love my body, we're gonna go paint a nude. Like, it was years in the making to get to that point.
Yeah.
And so I think you just have to get one thing that you really, really love, and then kind of just keep building on that one thing. But I have always been like a pretty open person, and really never let anyone tell me how to feel about myself, except for that one awful person who then I truly was like, I'm never letting someone do that again. And not that I wish that upon anyone, but I think that was also the factor of like, you can't say anything to me because I don't believe you, because I know what's in my heart and what's right, and I'm confident, and that's that. And that's why I don't think I let most people get into me in the way that other folks do, like the external factors affecting your confidence, because it's just like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like, point blank, that's just not true about me, you know?
I think too, just like going back, the older I get, the more I realize like there are a lot less people in the world that really have anything negative to say. Like someone who says something so negative and it does like, it's more of a reflection on them, like they're far and few. I feel like when you really, because everybody's almost like most of the time is thinking the same way that I am. Like we're just so worried about us or focused on myself or like other things in my mind that when people walk by, most of the time if I'm staring at someone And like, I have a resting bitch face. So if I'm staring at you, it's because like, I think you're beautiful. I like your tattoos, or you're walking a cute dog. Like those are the main things that I think of. So even though my face may be like looking some type of way. And so I try to really remember that when I'm walking down the street, because like I said, I am a little bit more affected by those things that I'm starting to shift in my mind. Like they look like that because they are going through something. But I really like that of like finding one thing about kind of shifting it more to like the body perspective of finding one thing that you do like about yourself, whatever it is, and then letting that energy like seep through. Because if you're walking down the street and you really like your hair, like that's all you have to think about. And then all of a sudden, like your whole body is like straight and walking, and like you're not even thinking about anything like that. And so everybody is not really thinking about anything else but themselves.
Really? It comes down to it. And to go back to the body thing, I just thought of something. So TMI, but I hit puberty really late. I was like 18.
Wow.
Yes. So I bloomed. Ew. I just felt like a grandma saying that. But I bloomed really late. Like I did not have a chest, and now I have like size H tits, which is insane. So I just feel like going from like, I don't think I loved my body in middle school and high school. Does anybody? But, and then I kind of flipped that switch of seeing something different in the mirror and really grateful that it happened, because I didn't like what I was looking at originally. And I know most people's stories are not like that. It kind of really happened overnight for me. And I think I was just so thankful that it changed in that way, that also made me feel super confident. Yeah.
Yeah. Puberty helps.
Puberty helps. You know?
It does. It's true.
But it also takes away.
Yeah.
The way that I think about it is I got so used to the way that I looked like for such a long time. I think I've been in my head ever since I was a kid. I can constantly remember just being, and I think that was a me thing. I don't think anything happened to me. You know, my parents were both very confident, at least like towards me. So I don't think anything like that, but I just was in my head a lot, that I got used to the way that I look, so that when when puberty did hit, I was like, wait, what? And then at the time, like I was an athlete, I was swimming all the time, which like was great because I was able to like eat whatever I wanted, and I still looked fine. And then I got into college and my body was going through like another cycle of changes, and I was like, what? Like I just got used to this new person and now I have to go through this. And even now, like, you know, we were just talking about like periods and the way that your body changes without a month, like throughout the month, because we're women and that's what happens. Yeah. And we're not really taught that now I'm starting to see and also appreciate those changes, because like your body does look different at certain times. And I think that is now a shift that I have to change, is like, just because I work hard or I go on my hot girl walks or all of these things are happening, doesn't mean like I want to fit in a box and have my body look a certain way. And so that's where I do implement like, this looks really good today, or this, you know, it changes throughout the month or different days, but also accepting the fact that your body changes, and that in itself is beautiful.
Absolutely. My body changed a lot too during COVID. I gained, this is the heaviest I've ever been. I know I'm say that, but it is. I gained like 20, 25 pounds. And I did have to re-look at myself in the mirror and be like, okay, you're still the same person. You're still confident. You still look great. But it was a shift for me. It was something that I definitely had to, again, practice my confidence and remember what I have always thought for this long time. But really, I think before that happened, my confidence was subconscious. It was just something that was always there because I always did it. And then once this new change happened, it was something I had to start intentionally doing again.
Yeah. We've talked about this before of like clothes, like not fitting and stuff. And like, cause I think just like working at a computer all day, being on your ass all day. And then like, with COVID, not being able to like go out and socialize and like do things, I think, it did impact a lot of people negatively. There are other people that they grinded and they look more hotter than they did at the beginning.
Wasn't me.
I wasn't on that pendulum side. So my clothes, and like just coming to the fact of like, why am I wearing clothes that don't fit me?
Yes, we talked about this.
Yeah, why I don't need to do that. Those clothes are done. I'm going to get clothes that actually fit. And so I feel good, because when you're in pants that are like digging into you, you feel bad.
You feel bad. And you don't feel confident.
No.
Because you feel bad.
Because you sit down and you're like, my button's about to burst. And like, how can I be confident if that's what I'm thinking about, you know?
I know. Yeah, it's
So
really
like,
true.
Yeah, why would you're almost like self-sabotaging your confidence in situations like that when it's like, you can set yourself up to feel better by putting on clothes that fit you, like doing your hair how you like, those type of things, which is all external, but
yeah. But I do think, especially with women, we're just taught that is the most important thing, is how you look and not aging and being skinny and all of the things. That I think that's why we do associate like physical appearance with confidence. Because when you are confident, you can tell just by looking at someone that they feel confident. And so I do think there is a line there. But even if you don't feel confident in your body, if you feel confident in your intelligence or the way that you swim or how good of a friend you are, just anything you can feel confident in, I think you just hold on to that. And you never let anybody take it away from you, and you try your really hardest to just let it seep into everything else.
Yeah.
Including your appearance.
No.
Yeah.
It's true. What Kathryn does for work, or did at least the time that I knew you, was like onboarding all new people to the company.
Yes.
And we would talk about this behind her back, not in a bad way, but just like, I don't know how she does this. I don't know how she stays like happy and encouraging and like positive. And so it's like, how do you maintain that energy for yourself, but also be able to like give that to other people?
Yes. That's a really good question. I can kind of turn it on and off. So I think people have different versions of themselves. And that is one version of me. I can be peppy. I can be that. But to counterbalance that, I do have to be by myself and just be quiet. Do you know what I mean? So how I maintain that for others is taking care of myself. And the way that I take care of myself is, sometimes just being by myself, maybe not going out one night, binging TV by myself. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's those quiet spaces where I really recharge my social battery, my confidence battery, so that I can then show up in the way that I want for other people. And I think my true happiness is helping others. That's why I liked doing new hires, because I was helping the new hires get acclimated. That's why I really liked customer service, because I liked helping other people. And I think when I think about confidence and how I try to spread confidence to others, I compliment them. And I'll say, just random strangers, I love your hair, I love your shoes, you have cool style. But I say it out loud. I don't think enough people do that. And I think that's my way of giving back to them, to say, hey, you can be confident because this cool thing that you're doing right now, be confident in that. And that's how I also give back to people and showing up in that way to try and give confidence to others too.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that's so true. I think a lot of things about people that are great, but I don't know how often I actually say them.
Say it. You should definitely say it. Who doesn't love compliments?
Yeah.
It's true.
Everyone
It's
does. You know? And I always think about, I don't say this too much anymore, but I used to say, like, let's say you said something bad about yourself. Oh, I don't like the way this looks. I would say, don't be mean to my friend.
Oh.
Because, do you remember me saying that? Because I just think that we're so much meaner to ourselves than we would ever be to a friend. You would never tell me that you hated my shirt or my hair looked weird. So don't say it to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I do remember you saying that.
Yeah. Don't be mean to my friend. Because it's true. You're my friend.
I like that.
Yeah.
And like even saying that to yourself, because like you should be friends with yourself.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I hope so.
I do think that a lot, because I think I do say that, and there was one time that I was saying it, and one of my little sisters was like, would you ever say that to me? And I was like, never.
Yeah.
Like, I would never even like
think
that. And I think like even so, like I think sometimes like as older sisters, especially, me, if my sister does like ask like if we're trying on clothes and she has like a gross shirt on, I'm like, come on now. But she's like, in that moment when I was saying something negative, like she was like, would you ever like say the way that you're saying it now, say that to me? And I was like, no. I wouldn't. That's
Yeah.
like crazy. She's like, if I called you and was like this all the time, what would you say? I'd be like, stop.
Yeah.
Like, look at you. She's like, okay, well then stop and look at you. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I know. Sometimes it really does take a third party outsider to show you how you're treating yourself.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
But if that's the way it happens, that's the way it happens. At least you recognize now.
Yeah. Well, Ellie had another topic on confidence that I think is going to take a lot of time.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
I wanted to talk about, okay, so we have like self-love, right? Which I think sometimes is like the inner, like your inner child, like my sister was saying, and how you're saying that little girl, like in your voice, building up. So like all the things that like make me so great on the inside that you don't normally see. And then sometimes like you elude that, and that's where your confidence comes from.
Yes.
And so we're at this point, or I feel like I'm at this point where like, okay, I'm gaining the self-love, I'm gaining the confidence. I would like to put that out there and like attract people in. Yes. And yes, friends, but more so those sexy men on the street. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, a partner. So I really wanted to talk about like, how do you, and like I have a lot of questions, but my first one is like, how do you have that confidence and then turn it outwards to attract whoever it is that you're attracted to? And like, how do you find that? And then I was thinking like, because when I think about it, I'm like, well, is it like learned in high school and then you just like take those tips? Like, what's that journey of like attracting the person, like the people that you're attracted to, and like bringing them in, and in order to like be like, hey, like do the peacocking and all that stuff. Like, how does that look like? What do you do? How do you do it now? I know you're in a committed relationship, but like before, and like even now,
how did you get in that relationship?
Yeah, how did you get in that relationship?
Confidence. I'll tell you that.
And then even still, like, I think it's important to elude that confidence even if you're in a committed relationship. So how do you do it now with your partner?
Yeah. I love this. This was a good topic. I have lots of thoughts running through my head. I would say it was not learned in high school. Whatever you learned in high school, forget. Yeah. Don't be mean to me. That is not how you get in my pants. No.
Never.
But I really think it's part of, again, the confidence that you feel and kind of making it known that you're confident. I have never heard of like any upstanding man who didn't like a confident woman. If they don't like a confident woman, there's an issue. Don't date
there's
that
a
person.
problem.
Yeah, because they're going to tear you down.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that it stems from just, again, I know I keep saying this, but just trying it, right? I went up to, when I was like in my like prime singledom phase, I would just go up to men and be like, hey, you're really cute. Can I buy you a drink? And they either turn around and they say, I have a girlfriend. Okay, no worries. Turn around and walk the other way. Or they're like, yeah. Yes. You know?
Yeah.
And then you just get to start talking to them. I think it's the same way of men. The way that men do it towards women is usually more aggressive because that's how they were taught to get women. But I think when we flip it on the other side, we do it better.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're not being aggressive to them. We're just being confident. And I think if you walk in a room and you're like, every guy here wants me, you can have whoever you want.
Yeah.
If you truly believe that, you can do it.
Yeah.
So my partner that I'm with, it was after the holiday Christmas party at work, and we were at the bar, and I just went up to him and I was like, hey, like, we should do this. Like, what are you doing now? Should we just like get out of here? And we did. And that's how it happened. Like, I think it's just something that is so refreshing for men specifically, because as women, we've been taught to let them come to us and, you know, dim your shine for them. Like, fuck that. And so I think when they see that, and it's so refreshing and it's so genuine, it's not like being fake and not trying to fake who you are. It's just a more genuine approach. I really do think they respond well to it. Yeah.
This is a little bit of like a different direction. I still want to talk about it, but it just came to my mind is like going back to what you said is like we all have different like, not like personalities, but like persons, right? And so sometimes I feel like with my past like relationships and experiences, I come across like I'll come across as one, like either very positive or whatever, and like yay, but that's not all of me. And so sometimes I'm like, I'm really trying to, I almost took a turn, and now I'm like, well, I'm not coming across anyway, you know what I mean? And so now I feel like I'm trying to even out the balance of like showing up and being myself and not being like overly positive if that's not how I always show up, but also like finding that self-love and what it is that I'm good at, and that's what I bring to the table. So it's a little bit of like, that's kind of how I'm shifting it now based on like phases of who I am, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's dating is so hard because it takes time for that person to see all those versions of yourself. Yeah. It's not something you can even share in one date and 2 dates. Like it takes months, I would say. And you said something that about you bringing things to the table, like you don't have to tell them what you bring to the table. They should see it.
Oh, yeah.
And the way that they should see it is by you just being you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. And, you know, it's not an interview. You don't have to say, I'm good at X, Y, Z,
I know.
ABC. But it is like you have to decide and choose if they're the right fit just as much as the other way around.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. I think too, like, it is like what I'm looking for, or, you know, what I'm wanting is like a genuine conversation with people. And now I feel less, I feel like before I was so worried, like, okay, now I kind of, like you were saying before, like, I almost have to, like, entertain them. I kind of have to, like, see it through, or, you know, whatever, continue with the rest of the date, or, like, oh, they were good at this and this, but now I feel like I am more confident because I'm showing up, and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm looking for, and if you don't have it, then it's not fitting. Like, I don't care how cute you are, I don't care if you're really, really good at this, or really, really good at this, like, this is what I'm looking for, and I don't really want to waste my time. And I think that in itself has made me more confident, just by changing that perspective on what it is I'm looking for, because before it was like, yeah, I still had standards, but they would just be like, oh, well, I'm here, so I'll just... And now I'm like, I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it. It definitely shouldn't compromise.
Yeah.
With things that important, right? With things that you want in life, in a partner, you definitely shouldn't compromise, because at the end of the day, you have to be happy. And if it's a compromise that you didn't want, or you feel like you're not your true self with this person, that's not fair to you.
2 thoughts. The first is, Ellie and I have been having this conversation around like being really bitter towards men.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'll speak for myself. So like the pendulum swing of being like, I have no boundaries, you can do whatever you want, walk all over me type of thing, and obviously feeling horrible about myself, to being like, you do one thing wrong and you're out. Like you say one thing that bothers me and I like can't stand you. Yeah. And like like now I feel like the wall is so high that I'm like, wait, I need to take some like bricks down, because I feel like I can't build a connection with anyone, because I'm sure maybe I'm like confident, like I feel fine. I feel fine with myself, but it's just like more of like I guess I'm putting it as a you problem instead of a me problem. But now I'm like, well, shoot. Yeah. How do you not be a man hater?
That's a good question. I feel like...
Yes, please answer. Please.
A man hater. I feel like you have to remember that they're also trying their best. Most of the time. Like, there are men that definitely are not trying their best. But I feel like most of the time, like, they are also probably struggling in the same ways that we are, with confidence, with trying to show up as the quote-unquote right version of who they want to show you. And I think maybe a little more forgiveness isn't really the right word, but more so patience is maybe what I would say. And I think the 3 of us are a good judge of character. You can tell if someone's just like a dick. Yeah, cut them off with that one thing that rubbed you the wrong way. But if it's a little bit more like, oh, they could have meant it this way, this is a little different, I want to unpack that a little bit more, I would say like you should give them the space to do that. But I always think about Cher, and you know the video where she's like, men are like dessert, they're like unnecessary, but they're like delicious. It's like a luxury. I can't think of what she says, but it's true. It's like, in order to not be a man hater, you have to want that and appreciate that for what it is without feeling like it's something you need.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And I think that also allows you space to be a little more patient.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I think too of like, what is it that I'm attracted to? What makes me want a man? And like, what is that? And like, find those things. I think recently I listened, I can't even remember, it was some sort of podcast or something. And it was just talking about like the difference between femininity and masculinity. And I feel like for so long I've been both. Like I've had to be both. And so sometimes I do show up like more aggressive, or I put these like more masculine energies out there when I think like, and you know, people may agree with this or not agree with this, but it's just something that I'm playing out is like, okay, well, what am I like when I think of like feminine energy? Do I want to bring to the table? And I feel like compassion and understanding, patience, a lot of these things. Like, I don't mean fucking cooking in the kitchen. I just mean like feminine energies that I am good at. And once I start eluding those energies, masculine men that are confident, like they're very strong in themselves, that's what's going to attract each other. And I think I'm seeing it, especially with the way that I'm talking about men, is I'm seeing like more of these energies, like masculine energies. And so I'm like, of course I'm not fighting, because we're constantly like, we're like almost like one with each other. And that's not really like a relationship that I want. I want us to balance out. I know what I'm good at, and I want them to be good at the things that I don't want to have to do that all the time. Yeah. That doesn't mean like I'm not confident or I am good at these masculine things, but it's just like more of that different energy that I'm pulling.
Yes.
It's just hard.
It's hard. It's not easy. It's absolutely not easy. And I have been there. I have been on both sides of like letting them walk all over you and then, you know, denying it at the slightest thing. I think it's just about trying to find a happy medium, unfortunately. And I know that this is the worst thing that a booed up person could say, but it also could just be that he's not the right one.
Yeah. No,
you could feel that way
true.
just because it's not it. You know, which is also fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true. I wish we were single at the same time, but I also am like glad that like I kind of got to watch your journey because I feel like it's given me confidence of like Kathryn's done it.
Yeah.
I know I'll be okay.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do. But it's true. I feel like I wasn't looking for a relationship when I found it. Being single was fun and it taught me a lot. But I would not go back. Yeah, I'm not going to do it again. That's for sure. But it's a really good time to understand and learn what you want in a partner. Yeah. In whatever way that means. Yeah.
Okay, let's take it one step further into the bedroom. Okay. So you have the connection with someone. You're vibing. Doesn't even need to be like you and your partner now. Just like you connected at the bar and you want to go home. I feel sexually confident, but I also feel like that is the most vulnerable you can be. Yeah. And so, like, how do you, I guess, maintain that confidence? How do you, like, with this random stranger that you're allowing into your life, like, not allow that to impact you and your confidence? And
that's a good question. I think you have to remember that it is still your decision. You feel confident enough to bring them home, to do whatever you want with them. I mean that literally. And then if you want them to leave, that is still your decision. I think it's about being confident in the decisions that you make. And if a decision doesn't feel good, you don't do it again. You stop it. And I think that's a big part about being confident too. Life is supposed to be fun. And sometimes that shit is fun, right? So be confident in just having a good time. And I know it is it especially as women, it is a vulnerable position and you're putting trust into someone that you don't necessarily know. And I think that I don't know if I have the answer for that, to be quite honest. But I do think as long as you are happy and feel confident in the decisions that you're making, you should just do it.
Love it.
I think so too. And going back to what you said, like I'm an okay judge of character. So I feel like if I am like looking for a one night stand or whatever, I am not going to choose someone that I don't feel like if I all of a sudden was like, no, you're going to listen. I don't care if I just met you an hour ago. I feel like I'm definitely able to kind of make those decisions. It is just hard too to like, I feel, and we've talked about this before, is like, I'm definitely more confident in the bedroom the longer I know someone. So sometimes when I'm first starting to like sleep with someone or do anything, like let them in, even just kiss, it's like, I want to be confident, but I also am like, you're just getting a little taste. Like if you were actually showing up and like, this is something that you were interested in and would build. So I try to remember that too, is like, I'm not here to like, this is for me. I'm not here to like put on a show and do all of these things because that's the goods. Like you don't get the goods the first time. Like I'm just here doing this like fun thing for me. Yeah. And so I've really tried to like remember that as I'm like go out and if that's something that I'm looking for, which recently I've been like, I'm okay without it.
Which is fine.
But now summer's coming along. I'm like,
it'd be nice.
Yeah. But I think to your point of like, I'm doing this for me, like, even going home with a stranger for a one-night stand, that's also doing it for you.
Yeah.
In a different capacity, in a different way. But I think you have to do it for you at the end of the day. You shouldn't be doing it for anyone else except yourself. And again, as long as the decisions you're making make you feel good, keep doing it.
Yeah.
And maybe text a friend where you are.
yes.
I'm bad at
just
that.
in case.
That's
you
okay.
are
I
bad
check
at
your
that.
location. That's why your location is
Sure.
whatever. I can't.
So
I
good.
know.
Yes. I
feel
totally
like
agree.
something happened with us and I never texted and I don't remember what it was.
I don't remember.
It
honestly.
was.
It
Was over
the
the
big
summer
concert night. It was all of our birthdays. The
What?
birthday,
It was
right?
the birthdays parties.
It was a birthday party, and you went with
the
that girl.
night you were singing on the mic and they kicked you off.
Yeah.
That night.
And you made that
yeah.
that friend with that girl.
That was not a
She
good
was
friend.
not nice.
No.
Yeah.
I got weird
When
energy
I
from
was
her.
away, when I was separated, I do remember walking and being like, I don't want to be with
Yeah.
you. I don't like this.
But at the time you're like, come meet my new friend. You're like,
Yes.
okay. No. Yes.
Oh
it was
yeah.
that was
Sorry
fun.
about that.
No, that's
It's fine. Live to tell the tale.
yes.
Yeah, text a friend. That is good. Location sharing is great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you have any questions for us?
I was gonna say one thing I admire about you is your confidence with work and like the confidence you have because we worked together for a while, kind of indirectly, but I admire it so much of how confident you are with work because I think that is where I feel least confident is like the work part. That like I girl boss too hard and I don't know what I'm doing. That is me. I have no idea what I'm doing, and you might feel that way internally, but you never let anyone know it. And I was like, fuck, she's so confident at work. And I just didn't know how to do that. So I wanted to tell you that.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
I think where I knew that I could step up at work like I was attracted to you in that way for the friendship because of the lack of confidence I had in myself in other ways. So it's probably like a good balance.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you both, what is a part of you that you feel very confident in? Like, what do you feel most confident about?
You can go for
I feel like you fed me an answer because I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I'm pretty confident at work.
I should have waited.
But I think I've always been that way just in like school or like more like academic things.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's something that I've just felt like I know I can do it and like no one else can like impact that for me because it's a matter of like how hard you work at something in a lot of instances. And sometimes I lean into that too much. Like I literally was in a program called Math Olympiads where we went to school before school started to do math.
I love it. I really do.
I can see the cringe on both your faces. Like I think about it and I'm like, what? And my dad's like, that's so cool that you did that.
Yeah.
But I do think a lot of that did stem from my parents and like pushing me to be good at school and do well at school. But I think like the social connection piece and other things are where I felt less confident. And so I was always like leaning more into like, oh, I'll just do more harder school things or like harder, I'll work harder. And that isn't always necessarily the case. But I guess outside of work, I think I just know that I'm a nice person.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I know that someone sitting in the corner at a party, I can befriend them. And like, I don't care if I'm the center of attention. I just know that I'm a nice person.
Yeah.
To people.
You definitely are.
Thanks.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
What about you?
That's definitely a hard question. I think the first thing that came to my mind is like, I'm confident in my like ability to move my body. Definitely just a shift of like when I was younger, especially because like Erica and I were always like pinned up against each other. But I feel like when we've gone on like a run or gone swimming, I'm not worried about what she's doing. I feel very confident in what I'm doing and like be able to like move my body and do a lot of different things. Like starting a new, like I feel like if I were to start like a new like workout class or like do a move that I've never done before, I don't feel like I'd be like, oh my God. Like I'd be like, oh, I'll try it. And like recently we went to like the rock climbing gym and like I did not feel like nervous. I was like, I'll try it. I'll go. I haven't climbed in forever. But
I was
like,
going to say, you like owned that.
I was just like, I like it because I'm like, if I don't know any of these people, like how can I fail? It's rock climbing. If I fail, it's like, oh, you failed at, like, it's not a fail. Like you did it and you tried. And I think like, I didn't have to talk. I didn't have to socialize. I didn't have to say anything. I didn't have to like try to like sound more educated than I am or like take a test really. It was just like, who wants to climb the wall and like not try to not fall? And I was like, I'll do it. Like, I'll do it. And I think that is where I'm just like, it's just like, I know my body and how short I am and I can try. And if not, it's like, it's not a really like a problem for me.
Yeah. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like my hair too.
Yeah, you do like the hair. Absolutely. I love that.
Where are you most confident?
I think it's my appearance. I think that is where where it started, and it is where I am most protective of. I will not let you tell me that I don't look good. Because, bitch, I know I do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am so protective of that because that really allowed me to feel confident in truly everything else that I have ever done and continue to do. And so I would say that.
Yeah, you're hot.
Yeah. Thanks. Like, my last thing I was going to say was, I think in order to, if you want to try to be confident, one, you just have to try. I would say give out more compliments to people out loud and then give them back to yourself. Compliment yourself just as much as you compliment others, and just don't be mean to my friend.
Oh, I love
I
that.
really love that. Beautiful.
Thanks so much for coming
Thanks
on.
for having me.
Yes.
Do you want to plug
This was
yourself?
really great. Okay. You can follow me on Instagram, Kayrecch, Kayrecch, or Indoor Cat Ceramics.
Yes.
You can't purchase anything yet, but shortly you will be able to.
Yay!
Yeah.
Exciting.
I'm very
I have an
excited.
original piece.
Yeah.
In the house.
Yeah, I have to get you a better one. I gave Erica like my first little wonky ass
cute.
cup.
We still have it. I love it.
I'll get you a good one next too.
Okay.
Okay.
I like them both.
Yeah. Well, you guys, you know where to find us. We love having you guys join every week. Hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday and rest of your week. And go out there, be confident, and give out compliments. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Thanks,
Love
Jane.
you guys.
Love you.
Bye.
Really?